ladies and gentlemen, a TVZ to finish the night in this best of 3, this last best of 3 today. Now, it's worth noting again, both of these players have already qualified, but at this point they're playing for seeding, they're playing for positioning, and they want to see where they go in the group stages. Spawning here in the top left corner of the map, though, from Root Gaming, Root for Root, give it up for CatZ!
In the upper right has the red Terran, it is Sendoh.
Sendoh? Someone needs to find me that sound clip, I'm serious. Find me the sound clip, tweet it to my Twitter so I can like play that out for the next time I introduce him. Before game 2. I don't even know what you would Google, like Japanese guy yelling followed by bamboo noise or something, but if anyone can find it, you're gonna be the best. Now what's kinda cool is with these final 2 players having qualified, we actually now know all 16 players will be taking part in Copa America Season 2. So to fill a bit of downtime, but also to inform you all, the Protoss include Huck, Wingian, Ghost Who Dark, Don't Panic, and Darkness. The Terrans, Major, Ruff, Jarpy, and Sendoh. Sendoh, of course, we're watching right now. And the Zerg consists of Jon Snow, Fog, Shakti, Jim Rising, B-Lord, Cham, and CatZ. Now, while there's a lot of really fun names here, the one thing I want to point out, though, guys, is I think the Latin community's held pretty well. There's such an abundance. There's only 4 players not from, like, Brazil, Spain, wherever, the Latin communities, Mexico, of course, Major. Only 4 players out of those 16 are not from those communities. So even though they opened it up to North America, it's not like North America came in like a force of Koreans and stomped everybody, no. So going through the group stages over the next couple weeks should be a lot of fun. We'll have some pretty even matches, and again, a lot of players will get to learn about. There's some we know, obviously, CatZ, Major, Ruff, Hawk, you name it. But there's some we also don't know, but the fact that they made it to these qualifying brackets, the fact that they made it to the group stages, we get to learn more about them. And Sendoh, I think, is going to be one of those players we'll see do fairly well.
Left you a present on Twitter.
Oh, did you find the sound clip?
Yeah.
I didn't even know what to look for. Of course, also control the camera. I can't be off in middle of nowhere space up here, tabbed out, looking on YouTube like...
That'd certainly be funny. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Sendoh can do against a Zerg of CatZ's caliber. Of course, we saw him against his own teammates, and he seemed to have his teammates' number a little bit. Not sure if that's always the case in their practice, but it seems to be pretty conclusive. But against CatZ, that's a whole nother beast. Is Sendoh really going to prove that he can do well in the group stages? Let's not forget, like, again, we go back to the whole, like, these 2 or 3 guys obviously getting through. What is the group stages really going to look like? Is there going to be, like, 2 guys getting through, 2 guys getting stomped?
I think it was a lot... I think it was a lot more like that in Season 1, because it was a lot of the weaker community members that you've never really heard of coming up against Major, right? Things like that. But this season we got a really nice balance of not just like all of North America, but again, like there's that mix of the really good, and the pretty decent. But okay, this Reaper, not going to be so decent, not going to be so really good. Look at that blood bottle, jeez. The corpse has nothing left in it. It's a gray husk.
Mistakes are made in life for him.
Yeah, well, this other Reaper's gonna have to get a little bit done. CatZ, by the way, one of the big things again, he scouted that there was no, or not CatZ, rather, that Sendoh did was scout that there wasn't a lot of gas. So perhaps thinking he was afforded more opportunities than Reapers than he really was. Either way, struggling to actually deal with these 2 links here. Should be able to save the SCV though, I think. Yeah.
For sure.
Well, for Sendoh, I mean, he's playing your classic game behind this. The Hellions will be on the way, the command center's coming. The one thing I could criticize about the last series we watched of him, though, is I really don't like the fact that we don't see him utilizing the Hellbat transformation servos. I understand the Hellions can be good and they're faster, so thus more maneuverable, but, I mean, the power of the pushes for the follow-up. We've seen XY from Invictus Game. We've seen Bunny from Team Liquid. We've seen a lot of people abusing Hellbats, and I'm really going to stress that phrase, abusing Hellbats, because the early timings they're almost impossible to hold off without Roaches, without Mass Queens.
We have seen Sendoh use them, just not in that early stage where you can transform the first 6 Hellbats.
He used Hellbats, but he didn't use the transformation servos, is my point.
Yeah.
Did he use them and I missed it?
No, he never used the initial Hellions and changed them with the transformation servos. But he always went into a Hellbat style.
Right, I was making sure we're on the same page. I was a little sorry, I thought the other way around. For CatZ, though, it's worth noting, guys, you know, he's I think probably the favorite coming into this series, but it doesn't necessarily mean he's got an automatic win here. What's worth noting is if you've been keeping up with Twitter, what's going on, first off, you should be, and you should be hashtagging SC2 Copa America with anything you tweet. But CatZ has also been tweeting about, like, wow, you know, he barely won that last series 2-1, he got direct countered a couple times, so it's not like he's this infallible, untouchable god of a Zerg player. He's just really good.
One Roach Warren and one, well, of course you only get one Roach Warren, but one Evo Chamber. TVZ, you almost always see doubles from both players. Double Engineering Bays, double Evos. This is, of course, going to give him a lot more gas for Roaches, and a little bit more money for maybe an earlier third.
I wonder how much he's going to invest in these Roaches, though, because, I mean, that is Carapace being associated with him. It's not like he's going for the ranged weapons to be like, okay, this is Roach Hydra 100%. I mean, this will be good for your start. 8's a perfectly fine number to deal with the combination Hellions, maybe provide a little bit of counter pressure at a depot, but I can't afford to lose these queens. He needs these for the Banshee.
I think Sendoh has been wise in keeping his best TV Seal builds for when it's he figures that it's important. He's going for mech right now. Something we haven't seen yet. He's also getting that armory at a time where he could transform the Hellbats. I mean, there's Roaches, and CatZ is very wise in getting Roaches against someone who could definitely abuse it.
I like the leapfrogging of the creep tumors forward. It's actually it's a small detail, but it's actually a really nice one.
Yeah. CatZ going for 2-base Roach, you know, his third's, it's not the latest, but it's kind of late. It's not going to do too well against someone who's going back because they can invest into those Banshees more than just one.
Well, one Banshee's going to be able to do a little bit to assist here. It's weird to see these queens on the front lines like this, but they're a little bit of DPS. They're psionic, so they can soak the hits a little bit better than most from, say, Marauders or tanks, but I don't really know that transfuses are going to get a lot done here in this scenario.
Well, they could take care of the queen. They could take care of the Banshee, where of course the Roach can't. So it's possible the Banshees are mismicroed. He gets down the Roaches, the Banshees really quickly, and that's a lot of DPS gone from this attack. Now CatZ is waiting. He knows that there is some defense up there, but has he waited too long? Tanks are about to pop out.
One of my hit goes off on one Roach. Second one of my hit comes popped out. And you're right, the tanks are kind of a timing on this, but we got some amazingly lacking DPS. I guess none of the bunkers are going down, none of the depots are going down, the SUs are repairing like crazy, and these Roaches are just kind of awkwardly throwing themselves against nothing.
Yeah, this is a kind of a cool build. I don't think I've seen it before. This Roaches with only +1 Carapace.
CatZ could have torn down one of those depots. Like, he was focusing not even on the bunker, like that was just like an A move scenario, I feel.
Yeah, he could have busted down the one supply depot, forced himself in a little bit more.
Yeah.
Either way, he couldn't reach the Banshees. At 3 Banshees, the 3 Queens would have to take no fire from the Hellions or the tanks and just deal with the Banshees, which was an unlikely scenario and would have required a lot more micro than CatZ did show.
Well, Sendoh's going to take a third. Does he not? Okay, he doesn't have vision of the Roaches just yet. Surprise! Now for CatZ, you know, he's seen that this is mech at this point. It's very obvious when you have this many tanks, Banshees, and Hellions invested in, and himself, he started going for the Infestation, but did he cancel it? No, he let it complete. Okay, sorry. I was glanced at the production tab for a second. So what I was going to say is, like, well, this might open a Roach Hydra. This could delve into being Swarm Hosts. Most likely we'll stick to Roach Hydra paired with Vipers, but, I mean, this is not a bad map for Swarm Hosts, not at all. And CatZ is a player who's willing to go that route.
I'm wondering if he gave too much in that attack. Again, we usually see these very powerful Roach Hydra attacks that's it's a bit passive, and then they have a very good push to use, especially if they wait for Vipers as well. But since he gave away so many Roaches, and of course he gave away a little bit of economy to do that, I wonder if it's going to be as strong, and if Sendoh can possibly move out at 150, and CatZ not really be able to defend it.
Well, here comes CatZ's Hive on the way. Combination of Ducks and Blinding Clouds. I think Blinding Clouds is going to be a little bit more effective, but I will never forget that series we had with Fire Cake versus Avila, where, I mean, on Newkirk, he tore an army apart with Abducts. Slowly but surely. I
could have sworn you said Ducks. Ducks and Blinding Clouds. Just saw like Viper shooting ducks up.
Actually, that's more like a goose or something, I guess, but... No, no. Oh, ab ducks, the six-pack of ducks. They're going to be really nice for, yeah, just doing what it can, corralling the units, getting... I think Blinding Cloud's obviously going to affect the tanks most, but again, sometimes these are guarded by a Vikings. The turret coverage is really nice. It's not going to be easy to just dive in and get a free Blinding Cloud, so an abduct may be a better choice depending on the situation.
Now, Sendoh is going for Thors. We commonly see this more often than we see just plain tanks, but he could be overreacting a little bit too much. The typical thing that we see is mutas, maybe 2-base mutas, but mutas in a swarm host and then back and forth again. But if you're going for Roach Hydra, the Thors, they can do stuff, you know, against the Vipers, and of course they have decent DPS, but they're not as powerful as the tanks.
No, definitely not. Thors only. I don't think like Thors are bad if it's gonna be swarm.
Oh, that's a bad rally. Ooh. That was like 1,000 minerals and gas. So.
Ouch.
Let's go on.
Not to mention, now it's primarily just roaches to the south. This one Viking, by the way, came out so late. I figured there's no way this was gonna get any Overlord kills. But between the one from the turret earlier and 2 Overlord kills itself, it's actually paying for itself pretty nicely.
Yeah. Sendoh is moving out right now. I mean, this is a great opportunity if he does move out. If this isn't just taking the 4th, if he's looking to be aggressive without being maxed out, well, maybe not. Maybe he should wait till he's maxed out now that the Vipers are out and ready to go.
Oh, we just did it, by the way, Zombie Grub. Side note, guys, we did manage to break the 2K mark for Copa America, so shout out to every single one of you tuning in. You guys rock. I have no idea how the other streams are doing, of course. I'm just happy that the English stream could get so many people tuning in. Of course, we got a CatZ game. Not at all surprised. Really fun guy to watch. But, you know, more so on top of this, there's a lot of Thors, granted, and tanks are fantastic, but there's not a lot of Hellbats. And CatZ hasn't exactly invested in something like Lings, but those wouldn't be horrible coming up as a possible, like, Remax situation.
I'm waiting, man. There was that one Jadon game where he remaxed with, like, 100+ Lings against a Protoss player with no splash, and it won when no one thought it would. It's gonna happen against a mech player once. The Hellbats. Just wait.
I was casting a game of Iasinu with Namshar one of the days you were missing, and Iasinu remaxed in 60 Mutalisks, like 6-0.
Awesome.
It's pretty ridiculous to see the remax potential of some Zerg players. But alright, we got the Vipers on the front lines here. There's a lot of Vikings to help zone this out. Not enough to one-shot them. The Thors will help a little bit, but it's going to be very difficult to completely zone these out. And the thing for CatZ is, like, behind this, he's taking every base. I love that move. I can't get over that enough. Like, I feel like if you're in a position where you're playing against a Mex player, just take every base. They're not going to... Goody's the only one who does tank run-bys. No one else does that.
Emergency supply depots do go down. That wasn't just a coincidence. He saw the army, and he knew that blocking off against a Roach Hydra army or forcing them into a choke is so much more effective than just letting them get on top of those tanks. Oh
my god, that Banshee survived 2 abducts!
Wow.
It survived 2 abducts with 2 HP! 1 HP for each abduct!
We have 2 engineering bays? Did he lose it? Yeah, he's getting 2 engineering bays. That, I wonder why. Because he's not going into barracks, he's going into 3 more starports.
Is it walled off somewhere? Where did he come down?
I got this, I'm checking.
Okay, you look for a second. I do like these command centers hidden on the backside, though. These would be really nice for the orbitals. They block out a lot of space, too. But we finally have Enduring Locust being researched out of CatZ saying, okay, I'll play your silly mech game. But what's going on right now, this is kind of what I was talking about before, guys. We've seen this happen in the past, where abducts are going to be infinitely more useful than Blinding Clouds if you can't find a good engagement path.
Oh, it was an emergency blocker, by the way, off to this north.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. I mean, they're cheap and they're way more HP than a Supply Depot, but this Banshee, man, it's I feel bad for this Banshee. The 2 that died didn't have to watch their 2 buddies die. This one's lived through like 5 abducts.
God, these Broodlords could be a little brutal if they were more plenty in number, but just 4, it's not going to deal that much damage that he couldn't just make a few Vikings and take care of it.
Right, but this is a problem a lot of Terran players get caught in with mech, where sometimes you don't have the right... And right now the Viking count is, quite frankly, low. So these Broodlords will do a lot of damage. Tanks will have to unsiege, but normally this gets paired really well with Swarm Hosts, because you have to leave the tank siege for the Swarm Hosts, but if you do, then they friendly fire each other for the Broodlings. So a little bit of a weird dynamic there, but the longer CatZ waits to get those Swarm Hosts actually out and available in play, the harder it's going to be to force out that sort of scenario. For now, though, you're right. There's a decent amount of Vikings. There's some Thors out. They can always go transform mode. Which of course gives them that little bit of extra punch.
CatZ still hesitant to really push in here. You know, I know going for the more aggressive type of Korean style of push with mech is dangerous. You're just asking to get overrun when you're not sieged or, you know, misread a situation. But Terrans seem to rarely ever win these type of battles, or this on this map, this style. They get mined out way faster. CatZ isn't going for the automatic Broodlord style, like free unit style, but eventually he is. He just has his army because he doesn't want to give it away for free.
I'm still loving these abducts coming out of CatZ. Really like these a lot more than going for Blinding Clouds. Just side note too, for those who don't know, because we will probably see it at some point. If you Blinding Cloud a Thor, it can still shoot up out of the Blinding Cloud. I remember when Zombie Girl and I found out about that, we were like, wait a minute, what? But it only affects the ground attacks, so still pretty good ground-to-air units if that's the case. But 5 Ravens at a time? But this is only shocking because Corvid Reactors wasn't researched.
Oops, sorry.
For those who don't know what that upgrade is, by the way, it's the Terran upgrade that allows Ravens to start with a little bit of extra energy so they can Secret Missile right off the bat.
Yeah, well, none of them have been upgraded. Durable Materials hasn't been either.
Well, I mean, I don't think Durable Materials is really that big of a deal in comparison to, say, Corvid Reactor. Because that's a whole 30 seconds, 50 seconds you save yourself right there.
Well, it's the idea also that you are not banking on the Ravens coming out at a key moment where they have to have that much energy. As opposed to Pathogen Glands, which if they don't come out with the fungals when you need it, it's terrible.
Well, good to siege up here for a pretty decent start to this engagement. Vikings are trying to pick away the Vipers. There's only a couple left, but the Corruptor's doing a great job of zoning this out. And here come the Broodlords. Now, here's one of the really sad dynamics of not having the Secret Missiles available. He's not going to be able to clear out the Corruptors, and he's certainly not going to be able to land these on the Broodlords. Broodlords take like 3 or 4 Secret Missiles to kill.
The choke here is good against a Roach Hydra player, but not if they got any amount of Blinding Clouds. Your tanks are completely zoned, like, together. 1 or 2 takes away your entire army. It was just that CatZ couldn't get him down because the Vikings are doing good job zoning, and he looked hesitant to give them away so freely, even though his bank is not that bad.
So there's 2 things to consider right now. 1, CatZ is actually with Creep Tumors blocked out this northern gold base. So technically at the moment, even though Sendoh's starting to clean this up, he's going to be down a base for a long time. But on the other hand, both players have this pretty massive bank going for them. I mean, this is a pretty insane bank.
Yeah.
Oh god.
CatZ should be transferring
There's not
over
enough Vikings. There's not enough Vikings for this.
With the Ravens? Is he no? Oh no.
No, the Corruptors can actually just stay where they are.
But
Friendly
now they're
fire
on
with the
top of
Secret
the
Missiles.
Vikings.
Exactly!
Yeah, what was that about?
Friendly fire! So painful!
No Vikings, 1 Viking left, and the Thors with no cover is going to be able to take care of it. Why are you putting the Ravens in with the... I don't understand.
I don't know. He's not using the Ravens too efficiently. We got some fungal growths going down too, but CatZ definitely got the better end of that trade because he killed so many Ravens with it. Oh my goodness, that's so painful to watch.
Yeah, there was no reason for those Ravens to die. That was... It seemed like such on purpose, though, and I think what happened was that he, of course, clicked on to set the target for the missile, but then also clicked again, so the Ravens went to it.
Oh.
It's just...
More Ravens going down to the Hydulas. We got some infested Terrans coming down here. There's no energy for 4-point defense drones. And again, this all might be a little bit different if he had Corvid Reactors, but I think he just completely forgot about them. And pushing through here, this looks like CatZ has finally taken a big lead this game. The big thing is bleeding out these Ravens. I mean, the supply count still looks somewhat even, guys, but the Ravens are so expensive. You can't afford to lose these, even if you have a bank.
Yeah, this lack of upgrades is not cool.
Yeah, pretty much. The bottom line there. There's so many tanks available, and there's just, even with 2 Vikings at a time, no real anti-air. So combination Swarm Hosts and possible more Broodlords, hell, even Mutalisks wouldn't be too bad at this point.
One thing, though, is that CatZ did finally gave away his army, so he's remaxing with Swarm Hosts and, you know, things that are free or energy-based, which is great, but it wasn't from the beginning. You know, usually we see it from the beginning, so both of them have a humongous bank. CatZ doesn't really have a bank. He will soon, because he's still on all the bases, and he's finally getting to those free unit points, but it wasn't as bad as it may have been should he had, you know, a bank behind it.
I really wish they would introduce the late game, like tier 3 upgrade for Banshees, so make it so they do splash damage like a campaign. That'd be so cool.
You're gonna talk about the tier 3 Reaper upgrade, because isn't that what like, David Kim wanted, was like the later Reaper or something like that?
That would be cool. Now, there's actually a cool dynamic of what could come into this game, guys. We've never seen anyone else do it to date. But there was this one instance where it was the same situation. Players started getting mined out. It was Swarmhouse versus Mech. It was on Habitation Station. It was Slivko versus Cross. And one thing Cross did really cool, really uniquely with his Ravens that I've still yet to see anyone else do to date, or even be effective with, is rather than using 100 tanks to zone out the Swarm Host waves, he was throwing down like a ton of auto turrets with the point defense turrets above them. And auto turrets, well, 1 or 2 is not so good, but when you've got a whole row of them, they shut down Swarm Hosts pretty effectively.
Seem to be getting into the age-old trap of this map.
How is this creep still not cleaned up, by the way? I mean, real talk. This has been like 5 minutes and it's still receding.
I think he kept taking overloads over there or something.
Maybe. It's just it. Creep is more useful. That fungal growth, though. That's gonna kill every unit here.
God.
Secret missiles are coming down, but he just runs them underneath the army. Oh! That was basically a mini nuclear explosion.
Oh my god.
I think I just found this week's highlight moment. Holy crap! CatZ is really good with these suicides, but that fungal growth could not have been better.
That was awesome.
Oh, Broodlord's still in the front lines.
Army. He'll start from 0.
Yeah, he's got no Vikings, he's got no Ravens. These 2 Broodlords have nothing to stop them. And free units for free units as he starts trading out. At this point, it's like, dude, there hasn't been Mutalisks all game. Just transform your Thors. It's not a big DPS boost, but it's enough to make it worthwhile.
If it is 1 Broodlord, yes. Just do it.
I mean, like, what splash damage does he able to get? Broodlords natively spread far enough that you can't splash them anyways.
It used to be if there was like 10 plus, the Thor splash was better. But with
But
only
there's
like
not.
6, yeah. Just transform them. No one remembers that you can transform them.
It's because the transformation mode sucks. It's such a low DPS boost.
It usually sucks. But
The
if
only-
it's the only thing that reaches to the Broodlords, then do it.
You know, the only time I've seen that be effective, actually, is in TVT, because it doesn't get shot down by the
Yeah.
point defense drones. No projectile. But, yeah, slowly pushing in here. I mean, Sendoh's got a bank, but look at it, it's mostly minerals. What's he gonna do, make 50 Hellions and win the game? Those can't shoot up. CatZ has played this really efficiently. He's got a huge bank behind it. He's still got the map under his control. And Sendoh's only just recently taken this base up here. And at this point, it's not even about the gold. He doesn't need minerals. I can't stress that enough. Like, minerals are the worst thing he could have right now. He needs gas.
Learning to run away from the secret missiles.
Ah.
This one learned. He's gonna be so cautious about that from now on. Half of Sendoh's army is up defending a gold base, so
The fungal
CatZ is moving
growths.
into the 3rd and eventually the natural.
So to explain something why you don't see fungal growths go off that often, guys, is a lot of the time the siege tanks are doing the job of zoning out the infestors. The infestors will never get close enough to fungal growth as long as you're camping above tanks. But the tanks, as Zombie are pointed, were all up here to the north. They were repositioned or have been killed at this point. In fact, Sendoh might be at that point where he can't max out on tanks fast enough to deal with these swarm hosts, with those locust waves.
You know what was funny about that, you know, the infestors going in as they did to kill that entire army, was that it was almost like CatZ was like, oh hey, there's no tanks to stop this, and then he went in. He realized it too, just a little later.
Yeah, kind of awkward. Now there's a lot of Ravens, but again, I can't stress that he doesn't have the energy upgrade for them. Like, you gotta imagine, like,
more energy.
right? Like, it's on 1 or 2 Ravens, okay, missing the small energy is not a big deal, but he's pumping 5 at a freaking time, and none of them are full energy, and most of them have died before they even came close. And again, it's the difference of 2 or 3 secret missiles, maybe some auto turrets, point defense drones, whatever the case may be. Sendoh at this point can't afford to actually upgrade it, which is what sucks the most.
Durable materials were not as important. Oh,
Ooh!
this is good. This is really good. Boom, boom.
Alright, get some pretty decent kills there. Man, if he had one Banshee right now, by the way, he would have just cleaned up like 5 more swarms on top of it.
Yeah. CatZ remaxes with more infestors and swarm hosts, but a mutalist switch would probably...
I
it's
don't know.
tricky against
Mutas?
mass ravens. If mass ravens
Yeah,
have that, you
yeah.
know, really good.
Oh, but the fungal! Oh my
No,
god!
not again! No, no, you can't do anything either because she's gonna do exactly what he did last time. No,
Yep.
no.
Oh,
you
he's sealed his own fate. Again, the kamikaze bomber goes in. And CatZ, he's taking the base. He's gonna shut this down. No gas for you. Okay, you know what? Sendoh played a pretty good game, but more respect goes to CatZ. Like, he's made the perfect reactions. You know, the suicide seeker missiles have caused more friendly fire than I think any amount of these locust/infestor fungal growths themselves have done. Was one tank gonna clip the base?
Drone should surround it.
Right? I was just thinking that. Even with 3 armor upgrades, drone will eventually punch it down, I guess. But oh man, that's a lot of infested Terrans. For the farm.
Don't need any fungals anymore.
Well, I mean, you've already killed enough Ravens. This is, it's only Hellions at this point. He literally can only make Hellions. Look at that gas bank. Or because you hate me saying literally, he can actually only make Hellions. Look at that gas bank. It doesn't exist.
I corrected you once in jest, and you were just...
No, dude, I'm taking it. It's like,
okay.
Unfortunately, I'm trying to improve my wordage, my vernacular, however you want to phrase it. Tank gets absolutely wrecked. So is this command center. This is game number 1 going to CatZ is what this is. And you know what the best part is? This wasn't even an hour long.
36 minutes doesn't seem correct either, though.
I know, right? Like, it doesn't feel like... It's a tower defense game at this rate, is what it is.
Dude, tower defense games, I used to love them so much, but they were so boring after the first 12 minutes.
Did you ever make the play the original Brood War one?
No, I didn't play any Brood War customs.
Oh man, it had this one sound effect. Shout out to anyone in the audience who remembers it. But like the original tower defense just had this really annoying thing with every wave. They'd be like, "Bwang, bwang, bwang, bwang," and like that's again one of those noises I'll never be able to forget because I've heard it a million times playing 1,000 tower defenses over the course of Brood War. I was the worst, man. Never played anything competitively. Never watched anything Korean. I just played sunken defenses and like, I don't know, break the condom games with Zerglings all day.
Yo, if I knew about Brood War online and like competitive play and online play, I'd be such a different person right now. I'm a better StarCraft player, that's what.
My micro would have begun at a much earlier age.
It would have.
Oh my god. Hold up, Sendoh just actually secret missile something else without dying in the process.
Oh, 41 mutas! Yes!
At this point, I think it's very clear that Sendoh has won this game and CatZ is just wasting our time. If CatZ was a real player, he would have obviously won. Oh!
Stop.
Yeah, CatZ is making a lot of really nice moves this game. There's just nothing else you can take away from that. The Vikings, they've got 3-3 granted. They can deal with the mutas and low counts, but not 41 of them. Not 41 of them.
You know, it's happened so often in this game that to any newcomers are probably like, what are they getting so hyped about? This thing's like it happens all the time. It really doesn't.
I know.
The splash damage really doesn't.
Oh my god, the secret missile drag once again. This is it, guys. This is finally it. GG is called, and game number 1 gonna go to Root CatZ. So many cool and stupid and amazing and great things happen in that game. I mean, honestly, it's hard to pick one favorite, but I think it has to come down to that first kamikaze missile. Holy schmoly. But, yeah. That's game number 1. We got a little bit more coming your way, guys. We're going to pop into a small commercial break after.